Hi! Just getting my kind of Mickey Mouse camera arrangement sorted here. It worked before. I'm afraid I'm very low tech. I still haven't learned how to do editing or anything. And my kids have left home now, so I haven't got anyone to give me advice and tell me how stupid I am. But anyway, you'll just have to put up with my very low-tech video skills. Anyway, it's Rachel, and I haven't made a video with any commentary for a few months probably. I did upload something last week. It was just the audio pretty much of I won't say confrontation, but I approached some witnesses in my local town and just told them a few things, and of course they didn't engage with me because they know me and they know I'm disfellowshipped. But to be honest, I kind of struggled to find a subject which I found interesting enough to make a video about. And lately there was a couple of things that sort of made me think, I could talk about this. And it was a couple of leaked videos that you can find online. One of them was a meeting for the branch relocation department in the UK, and the other was a meeting for the accounting sort of department, or the treasury department at Watchtower. So these were leaked videos, and I can put them in the description below so you can have a look. Anyway, what struck me about I didn't watch all of the meetings, but in the first clip that I'm going to show you, it's talking about the safety for the construction workers at the UK Chelmsford construction site, and the brother shows some videos that had been shown to those workers going to the site. And what struck me was that there seemed to be more attention given to the protection of construction workers and to the protection of the money of the organisation, the material wealth, than to the protection of lives, as in the protection of children when it comes to sexual abuse by members of the congregation. When you watch these video clips that I'm going to show in my very low tech way, because I've actually got them on my tablet, and I'm going to take my camera, my phone, and then show it to you off my tablet. If you applied those principles that they bring out when it comes to protecting workers from perhaps accidents on the construction site, if you applied that to the danger of paedophiles in the congregations, the organisation would be responding quite differently to allegations of child sexual abuse and to the way they handle these abusers. As it stands at the moment, it still seems that brothers, elders in congregations cannot just go and alert everyone in the congregation that there's a paedophile in their midst. I think direction has to come from the branch. They have to determine whether that person who's been accused is still a risk to a child. So they've got to make that determination without any qualifications whatsoever in this area. And then they may let the elders tell the parents of minors in the congregation. But it seems that this was never done in the past. And it's quite clear when former elders speak up about it. And John Cedars recently did a video where he interviewed two former elders, and at the time of the interview, John Cedars did not know whether they'd had any dealings with child sexual abuse. So he asked them in his video, and to his astonishment, both of them had. And they had both had men who had a history of child sexual abuse come into the congregation, and the elders weren't to tell anyone about it. So even if some elders maybe have done that in the past, have warned people, it's not been a general thing that the organisation has done. Hopefully we'll see change. We are seeing some small changes coming out following the Australian Royal Commission, and I guess all the negative publicity, the negative media attention that the organisation is getting about the subject of child sexual abuse. So hopefully there will be more changes in the future, although they have been quite clear that they will not change the two-witness rule when it comes to taking congregational disciplinary action against someone accused of child sexual abuse. However, they should actually be reporting all allegations of child sexual abuse to the proper authorities who have the training and the expertise to deal with these things. Elders, they don't have these skills, and I'm sure most of them will feel completely ill-qualified to be dealing with this. So it would make it much easier, much safer for everyone if all allegations were reported to the authorities. But anyway, I won't keep waffling on. I will show you part of this video. I'll just turn my tablet on. Sorry about the low tech. And I'll pick up this and I'll start it. So just as you look at it, think of applying these principles to the protection of children in the congregation when it comes to a paedophile, a clear danger in their midst. Okay? Oops. Hang on, that's not the right one. Right, here we go. Told you I was really bad at this, but no, I can't even push the button. My goodness, it's pathetic. Here we go.
Over the past year, we have discussed various safety topics to keep our families safe. We realise that not everyone has been around to see these, so we're going to take some time to refresh ourselves and show those that are newer to the family different ways to keep safe. Firstly, we looked at how we can demonstrate love for our brothers by saying something when we see something. Let's take a look at that in action.
Oh, he's on the top step of that ladder. Oh, I'm sure we were trained we're not supposed to do that. I should say something. I feel quite awkward saying something to a brother. Maybe I should. Hi, brother. Sorry, I just noticed you're on the top step of the ladder there. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, thanks, sister. Yeah, it shouldn't really be this side. I just had one more fitting to tighten. I didn't want to get a taller ladder for just one more. But, no, sorry, you're right. Sorry for setting a bad example. Please don't follow me. I'll be a bit more like you and speak out when I see something not right. Thanks for the reminder.
That's all right. I just don't want you to fall.
That provided a demonstration of love in action. Can we improve in allowing our love for brothers to show more clearly by saying something when we see something? Secondly, we looked at the blessings of the job hazard analysis and the scriptural foundation for these in Proverbs 22 verse 3, where it says, "Shrewd is the one that sees the danger and conceals himself." Let's take a look back at that video.
Nice elimination process. Our final point on this JHA is good housekeeping. Who'd like to share our potential hazards? Asha?
Well, we've got slip and trip hazards being in a trench, and also having offcuts of pipe lying around. That's a potential for us to fall on. But also, as we're in the mud and we have tools, if we put them down, we could lose them, we could step on them, and we could lose our tools altogether. We need to make sure we don't do that.
Great job, guys.
Using this tool helps us in this aspect of sacred service, to glorify Jehovah by showing that we mirror his value on life. Yes, the blessings of the JHA keep us safe. Another way we can aid in the success of our project and bring praise to Jehovah is by asking ourselves, am I being watchful and avoiding distractions?
Okay, so that was quite interesting, wasn't it? The brother mentioned the scripture from Proverbs talking about the shrewd one seeing the calamity and proceeding to conceal himself. So being watchful and looking out for possible pitfalls in the path ahead and avoiding them. And this scripture has been used when it comes to protecting children from child sexual abuse. Back at last year's convention, I believe it was on a Saturday, they gave a talk talking about protecting children from evil men in the congregation. And the brother quoted this scripture and applied it in the sense that parents should realise or know that there are predators in the community, and there can be sexual predators even in God's organisation. Therefore, having knowledge of that, they should prepare their children to defend themselves if they are predated upon by these people or groomed by these people. So it's kind of left up to the children to be able to defend themselves. And at the time I felt really angry that they used this scripture in this way, because what has happened, as I've already mentioned earlier, is that elders often know when there is a brother or a sister accused of child sexual abuse, or even they have knowledge that they may have confessed in the past or have even been convicted in the past. They have knowledge of this danger in the congregation, a danger to the most vulnerable ones in the congregation, the children, and they do not warn the congregation. This has happened in the past. That was just normal practice. So to use that scripture, I was somewhat disgusted, because the elders can see the pitfall ahead. It's like someone's on a road and there's some big potholes ahead, and they're travelling along with their minors, their children, and the elders know that there's a great big huge ditch up ahead that's kind of camouflaged, and they don't tell the parent that there is a big hole in the road ahead, and they know it's there. So I found it rather disgusting. Anyway, later on I'm going to play a bit of what Brother Sanderson, one of the governing body members, said related to this as well. And yeah, it just truly disgusted me, to be honest. But anyway, I'll play a little bit more of what this brother said, talking about safety in the workplace. And I think this is where he might talk about identifying like dangerous behaviours. Now, the tendency to use children for sexual gratification, that's a pretty dangerous behaviour, isn't it? It's a bit worse than perhaps standing on the top rung of a ladder. But we don't see the elders pointing out these dangerous behaviours and removing them. Anyway, I'll just play this next bit. Okay.
The importance of being alert to protecting life and property.
Safety research tells us that unaddressed near misses can lead to minor incidents. These can lead to major incidents.
Sorry, the sound is quite low, isn't it? And it's raining outside, so
It all starts with unsafe behaviors.
there we are. Unsafe behaviours.
If we can eliminate unsafe behaviors, we can significantly reduce the probability of serious injury.
Yes, couldn't we just?
Each of us can do an honest self-analysis. Do I have unsafe behaviors and habits?
Yes, so certainly the molestation of children is a unsafe behaviour, isn't it? and it may not lead immediately to death, but it certainly robs that child of a normal life, doesn't it? Anyone can see how damaging sexual abuse is to a child, how it affects their development, their relationships with others as they go through life. And for many of them, it's something they can never get past. It's always affecting them in some way. So, yeah, I think we should eliminate the unsafe behaviour of child sexual predation. Yeah. Anyway, there's another little bit here. Oh yeah, this bit coming up. I thought it was interesting how when he talked about safety, one of the major concerns was to protect the dedicated funds of the organisation, because when there are accidents on the site, it means that money has to be spent in treating those people who have been hurt, and that's taking away the dedicated funds, how important they are. And it's the safety of the brothers and sisters comes after the conservation of dedicated funds. So you listen to this bit.
Remember, as Proverbs 20:11 tells us, we are known by our actions, whether our behavior is pure and right. With consistent effort, we can develop new habits, follow safe work practices, even when no one is looking. If we take time to change unsafe behaviors, can you spot for me? We can conserve dedicated funds and protect the good health and lives of our brothers and sisters.
Okay. Hello again. So that was interesting, wasn't it? That by getting rid of these unsafe behaviours, they can conserve the dedicated funds and protect the health and safety of the brothers and sisters. Okay, so the next video that I saw that was very interesting and connected with this was another leaked video from the talk that Brother Sanderson gave to the Treasury Department, and he was talking about accounting. So of course he was relating it to the money that the organisation has and using the money in a proper way and looking after it. And he talked about how Jehovah is the great accountant, and went on to talk about how Jehovah values life, and he demands an accounting for life. For example, if someone takes a life, they could expect their life to be taken. So if we applied the principles that he brings out here in his talk to the accounting that Jehovah will ask for the lives of those young people who have been sexually abused in the congregation, then the organisation is in big trouble with Jehovah. He will demand an accounting from them. So anyway, I'm probably getting my words all mixed up, but it's about a 3-minute clip of Brother Sanderson, and he brings out a scripture. And take note what he says about the watchman who failed to warn the people about a danger that was approaching, and apply that to the elders in the congregations who know there's a paedophile in the congregation. Also, it goes up further up the line to the governing body, because it's the headquarters that advises the elders and who has provided them with the instructions in their Shepherd the Flock of God book, and in the numerous letters, which is all very confusing. So just see how it might apply to them. Okay. I hope you can hear. I'm sort of, the rain is hitting my conservatory roof, and the sound on here seems to be very low.
Jehovah says, besides that, I will demand an accounting. Isn't that interesting? I will demand an accounting for your lifeblood. I will demand an accounting from every living creature, and from each man I will demand an accounting for the life of his brother. Well, if you took time and you looked at the Hebrew word that's involved here, I'm not going to bore you with a long discussion of this, but it has the sense of you would account for something or you would ask back something. You may remember that the previous edition of the New World Translation says, I will ask it back. And the sense of that is that if someone had taken a life wrongfully, then Jehovah would demand an accounting, and he would ask back the life of that individual because they had wrongly took the life of another. And that law would even apply to animals. Isn't that interesting? Because even an animal that would take the life of a human would have to die. And that principle is in all cultures around the world. You know, if a tiger in India comes out of the jungle and kills someone, well, what do the people do? Immediately they go into the jungle, they find the tiger, and they kill it. You see, they have that sense that there must be an accounting for that life. Well, that same principle continues through the scriptures. If you look at Ezekiel, where we see this same Hebrew word used, Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 6, here when Jehovah is talking about the work of the watchman and giving a warning, he says, but if the watchman sees the sword coming and he does not blow the horn, and the people receive no warning, and the sword comes and takes the life of one of them, the person will die for his own error. But then do you see what it says? But I will ask, there's that expression, I will ask his blood back from the watchman. Now if you look at the footnote, it says, I will hold the watchman accountable for his blood. So Jehovah demands an accounting. Who is responsible for the death of that person? And the person who didn't give the warning, he's the one who becomes responsible, and he forfeits his life. Well, we could look at other scriptures along that same line where that same word is used, but it's something you might want to do a little personal study project on.
Yes, you might like to do a bit of personal study yourself.
See how Jehovah values life and how he accounts for every life, and he demands an accounting for any life that was taken improperly. Well, that shows us that Jehovah keeps track of precious and valuable things.
Yes, how many lives have you destroyed? Yes, indeed. Not just the lives of children who have been sexually abused and had it badly handled, and their abusers have gone on to abuse others, but of course there are all the hundreds of thousands who have been disfellowshipped, and for many of them